Hey guys, welcome to my channel, Brandon About Everything. I'm Brandon, I'm interested in everything. So today I want to talk about when God, I do want to caveat all of this, that you should probably go watch the previous episode, the first episode, in order to understand, because I'm not going to repeat all of myself from that one. It will make a lot more sense if you listen to that one first. Also, this is just my own perspective and opinion. I'm sure that I'm going to get some stuff wrong because I'm human and that's what humans do. So, with that being said, I am going to talk today about when God exploded God's self in the Big Bang. And every little atom, molecule, soul, mountain, star, planet, everything is an aspect, a glimmer, a reflection of the divine. And I genuinely believe that we are all one single soul that is diving into an experience, coming out, and diving into another experience, coming out, diving into another experience, coming out, so that we are all essentially the exact same soul, just living a bunch of different lifetimes before we merge back in with the divine. And what karma, or the law of cause and effect, or in the Bible, as it says, as you sow, so you shall reap. Or in other words, the plants that you plant in the ground, that's the type of plant that's going to grow. Same thing with karma in this lifetime. If you put out a bunch of negativity, you're going to get back a bunch of negativity. If you put out positivity, you're going to get back positivity. The interesting thing about this reality is that there's a delay between when you put out something and when you get it back. And that delay can be a short period of time within one lifetime, but it can also be in an entirely separate lifetime that karma gets resolved. The only way, if you have harmed someone else and you know you've harmed them, the only way you can avoid having the negative consequences of the karma come upon you is to put yourself in the other person's shoes that you've harmed and to feel what it felt like to be harmed by you. And when you do that, you're never going to do the same harm again. You would never approach it again because you've now felt what it feels like to be on the other side of it. That is what contrition, apologizing, genuine, sincere apology is, putting yourself in the other person's shoes and being like, oh my God, I didn't realize that this hurt you this way. Had I realized it, I would not have handled this situation this way, and I'm so sorry. And I will handle it differently moving forward. So that is the reason that an apology, a contrition, a broken heart, remorse is so important, because it discharges your karma. So if you don't do that, you're guaranteed to draw into your experience, whether in this lifetime or in another, you are guaranteed to draw to you the somebody doing to you a very similar thing to what you did to the other person, so that you can feel what it felt like to receive that, to be the recipient of that act or those words. So that is the reason that all of the great teachers teach. Buddha framed it as non-attachment. Jesus framed it as forgiveness. There's a freeing of ourselves when we forgive somebody else. It doesn't have anything to do with, it doesn't change their karma. Their karma is still independent of whether or not I forgive someone. If somebody else has wronged me and I've forgiven them, that changes my trajectory. It doesn't change the trajectory of the person who did the harm. The only way that they can change that trajectory is if they have apologized, have a contrite, broken spirit. It does not require an apology. It requires a willingness to apologize if you encounter the person, if the person's open to receiving it. And to apologize sincerely, once again, because you've put yourself in their shoes, you know how it felt to be hurt, wounded, betrayed, dumped, whatever the feeling is. When you've done that, then you have now discharged your karma because you've learned the lesson that you needed to. The only reason you've got that karma coming to you is because you needed to learn that lesson. So that is the reason that forgiveness is so important. When Jesus came and updated the contract, remember, based on the last episode, you need to have watched that to understand that. But when Jesus came and updated a new covenant, he taught us to turn the other cheek. Now, if we think about, like, in the context of a fight, somebody slaps you, punches you, whatever. Now, turning the other cheek. The person who turns the other cheek is still standing there, holding their ground, not retaliating, but letting the other person, like, I'm not going to retaliate, but I'm not going to back down either. And I think that that's forgotten oftentimes in modern Christianity, or modern Protestant Christianity at least. There's this strong emphasis on turning the other cheek, as in being passive and not taking action when you know that something's wrong. So, the action, the standing up for yourself is an important part of it. The way that I would frame it in modern terminology is do no harm, but take no shit. And do no harm, don't harm other people, and don't tolerate it when other people harm you. Or when you see someone who can't defend themselves, a child, mentally or physically disabled, something along those lines, then there is an obligation to step in. I believe that there is an obligation to speak up when it's to adults, but adults have free will. Adults that are reasonably capable and in which there is not an extreme power disparity. But whenever the adults are, reasonably on the same level, one of my family members, she divorced her husband of over 10 years, father of her 4 children, because he was abusive. And she does not accept that I acknowledge the first time that he abused her, that's his fault. But every single time after that he abused her, my family member, at minimum, shares responsibility with the abusing husband, because she's tacitly consented. She's implied her consent by staying in the relationship. And, in the context of abuse, you have to speak up and say, hey, that's not okay. You can't do that anymore. And then if they do it again, now you have to enforce the boundary. And the boundary is, to the extent that you continue to do this, you will not have a relationship with me. That's the only boundary that an abusive person is going to respond to. And so, or they may not even respond to it, but at least you can protect yourself from them. So, that's my little update for today, episode 2. Thanks for coming. I hope y'all are blessed, guys.